Hello and welcome back to the Chatter Cave podcast, where we talk media. And I don't know what you're doing there because your hands are off screen a little bit, little fella. Yeah, we talk media, usually in the form of reviews, and sometimes recently we've been adding little topics after the review. That's very similar to the review, but this time we're not because we're just doing the review. I'm your host, Thomas Hughes. I'm joined by the lovely. Oh, there's my hat. There you go. I'm joined by the lovely Grogu, aka Hayden, aka Nicola, who is decided to wear my Grogu hat for this because if you couldn't tell, we're continuing something we there you go. You can see her face now. We're continuing with something we.
I do not work with hats. That's stupid.
Well, you're the one that said you wanted my hat.
I wanted the entire Grogu costume.
Oh, I couldn't afford an entire Grogu costume.
And it turns out I can't fit into a baby one.
That's your problem, not mine.
We tried.
But yeah, obviously, a few weeks ago, we, ate nowhere, pulled Mandalorian out of our ass, and was like,
first time.
It was like, yeah, we did Mandalorian, and we covered the first series. Had a decent time reviewing it and just discussing Star Wars in general kind of thing. So we're back now for the second series, Mandalorian series 2.
We watched it.
Did we finish watching it? Yes, because we kind of started. We watched the first episode or two after we did the review for the first series, and then we kind of spread it out whenever we had a chance to watch it. And the last 2 days, we kind of just binged through the rest of the series, and got to a point now where we're like, okay, we can actually talk about this show and give a opinion on it, because this series picks up after the finale, where obviously they go on the merry ways, and they're like, okay, we need to find essentially
a Jedi.
Well, we need to find a Mandalorian because the Mandalorian could lead us to a Jedi. So obviously, that's how the series kicks off. He goes to visit that new woman from the last series, the mechanic.
Grogu's mom.
Grogu's surrogate mother, who loves him to bits now, and has a go at Mandalorian every time she thinks he's mistreated him. And obviously, she sends him on his way into, another part of Tatooine, because Star Wars loves
Back to Tatooine again.
But this series has actually gone back to like another place in a city, from like the prequels.
It's not Tatooine.
The new series, one of the episodes got the one that's basically not focused on Mandalorian. It's basically taking it to like I can't remember which city it is, but it's basically like one of the cities from the prequels, which is pretty cool.
The main one, or
I can't remember.
The one with the orders in.
I can't remember. You'll see when you get to that series. But yeah, obviously sends him on his way into Tatooine to basically go after this Mandalorian, who obviously is wearing the Boba Fett outfit, but it's not Boba Fett. It's obviously a Marshal. But obviously that part of this is actually like kind of from the books. Like that character is like from the books. So I do like the fact that they are utilising not just the cartoons or the actual movies. They're actually going into it and going, okay,
all the like
extended canons, extended lore. Yeah, they're going through that and going, okay, let's utilise characters from books. In this case, obviously the Marshal. I can't remember the actor's name who plays him, but I know he's in the second Scream film.
Yes,
but obviously, it's not Boba Fett, and there's a whole thing with that. And that's the one episode of this show so far. I don't think he's done any series 3. But so far that Jon Favreau is actually directed. He directed the opening for this series, which is probably why it was on this massive scale. I mean, you got the Crate Dragon, which looked amazing. Which, as you said while watching it, you were going, "This is very Tremors-like."
Yeah, it's like a big tremor.
Graboid. They're called graboids.
Well, I'm not a nerd, so I don't care.
Well, you're the one that fucking referenced Tremors while watching it. I didn't, and I'm the one who fucking loves Tremors.
You was thinking it.
I'll let. We'll move on.
Point proven.
But yeah, obviously, again, each episode he's going on different quests to get to this Mandalorian, which eventually is obviously Bo-Katan, who is from the Clone Wars series. So that's another one they've got from that, and obviously then she sends him on his way to a Jedi, which is obviously Ahsoka from Clone Wars and Rebels. From both shows, and obviously she references the big villain from Rebels, obviously the General can't remember his name. The blue guy.
General Blue guy.
General Blue guy, yeah.
He was my favourite.
And obviously then she sends him off elsewhere. I love how they get to like these people and they just keep sending them elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, I've heard you can help me. Yeah, go and see this person. Is this person you want? Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, you want to go to this place.
Yeah.
You're not going to help. No, you got it yourself.
I can't help you because that's your child now, and I can't help when a child actually cares for people. It has to be a child that we've stolen from their parents
and inducted into our cult.
Yeah.
Because we all know Jedi's as cultists.
Yeah. This baby's too old. This baby's 80. He's too old.
50.
50.
He's 50.
Oh, I thought it was 80.
50. I don't think there's a time jump even between the first and second series, so he's still 50.
I always thought it was 80.
I know there's a bit of a time jump after this, but into obviously the Boba Fett and into his own series. I know there is a time jump within that.
And come back and like, you fucking what there?
Yeah, he's really tall now. He's like a baby. He's like Groot. He's like,
oh, language.
He's just teenage Grogu. No, that'd be hilarious. That was. He's taller than his actual fucking his actual species.
Yeah.
He's the odd one out.
That's why he's special.
He's gonna be taller than all of them. He's gonna be a human-sized Yoda, not basically a small puppet Yoda.
What if it's not actually a baby Yoda? It's a species that copies what was raising him, and maybe Yoda was raising him at the time, and that's why he looks like a little Yoda. But then eventually, I'll start telling Pedro Pascal.
Never know. But yeah,
grows his own armor.
But yeah, I do like the fact that they are dipping into obviously the books, the animations, and the movies to get characters, to get the story going. Because obviously, like I said, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, and Marshall.
And they keep them very accurate to the extended canon as well. Like with Ahsoka, they actually have her using those like the white blade lightsabers that she uses. That's got a lot of like meaning in Star Wars. And I've got dark saber as well, and all the lore that comes with that. It's ironic because it's being Mandalorian, very heavily connected. It's a good way.
Yeah, because there's a lot more talking of Mandalorian in this, because obviously it's not just Mandalorian here. Obviously,
staring at a child that can't talk.
Bo-Katan is here with her, obviously her people
and her story,
and obviously you got Boba Fett. That's the big one, the one that was teased at the very beginning. Obviously, technically speaking, Boba Fett was in that one shot in the last series when obviously he rescued the assassin, played obviously by our favourite Agent May. Obviously, that was that one shot of someone rescuing it, and it was all like, "Oh, who's this?
What was it bit?" And you go, "It's Boba Fett." All right, spoil the whole thing.
And then obviously in series 2, the first episode, one of the last shots in the desert is someone standing there mysteriously bald, watching as it goes on, and you're like, "Oh, who could that be?" And then you have to wait a good fucking 5 episodes before you go, Boba Fett. But it's worth it when he turns up. I mean, I love the fact that they're actually utilising the guy who played Jango Fett, because the idea of he's just a clone.
Yeah.
So it makes sense the fact just them to go, you know what, why don't we just use the guy that played Jango? And obviously he's older now, just make him a bit... We can do whatever we want, because we never actually saw Boba unarmoured before, so we can do whatever the fuck we want.
We never showed how old he is either. So it's a good way of continuing his story as well. And it's the right thing to do, because they are clones. They're all going to look and sound just like him. Which
is the reference in the finale when Bo-Katan says,
"Yeah,
I've seen many that look like you and sound like you.
I've had that voice a long time,
many times." Yeah. And obviously he's like, "Well, this voice is going to be the last one you hear." But yeah, it's cool that they bring him into it. Obviously, this is to set up the big spin-off series, the Book of Boba Fett, which is the big end credit scene for
AKA
this series.
Mandalorian 2.5.
Well, the first 4 episodes are at least the Book of Boba Fett, and then it becomes the Mandalorian 2.5 mixed with the Book of Boba Fett for the finale to round it all out.
Thought they got we continue Boba Fett, but we had Pedro Pascal. We had Boba Fett in that one. Yeah, okay, and then it's like they completely forgot about Boba. I don't remember. Oh shit, Boba. Let's put him at the end.
It's like with that series. Actually, there's no point me getting into that, because I can get into that when we actually eventually cover Boba Fett. Makes no sense to me. Well, you want to watch Mandalorian series 3, don't you?
Well, I don't watch those
Not tough.
because I want to be like Mandalorian. He just has no idea what the fuck's going on.
Tough.
Or
Yeah, but they explain it to him. But you don't see it on screen because there's no point you explaining it on screen because you've already explained it for 3 episodes. So you're going to be less off information-wise than the Mandalorian is.
story of my life.
True. You are dumb.
We could watch it now, so I've no idea what the fuck's going on. So.
True. But yeah, obviously, I know one thing when we're watching it, you point out the fact that there's a lot of shots that just remind you of the movies, like the TIE fighter shots and like space shots.
Cuts. It was mostly the one that stuck out for me was when Boba's in his ship and the ship's rattling around and he's rattling with it. It's very close to when Darth Vader was in his ship, and you see the cuts of it in the small compartment. It just him, the shoulder shot and stuff. That's one of the ones that mostly stuck out for me as well.
The special effects are pretty damn good, specifically obviously with the ships.
It's also very similar to what they used to look like, but more modernized. The stormtrooper stun, the little rings.
Yeah. And he's getting his little Grogu, his little handcuffs on.
He's bullying all the stormtroopers.
That was one of the best moments, just him bullying them. Yeah, fuck you. And I love it that the Moff Gideon's just letting it happen. Yeah, he could go in and stop it, but obviously I think he knows the fact that he's not strong enough to keep it going. I think
he wanted to see how strong it was and how long it will last.
So he just let his 2 stormtroopers get their ass whooped. But I do obviously there's a lot of throwbacks to the last series. A lot of characters coming back, even if it's a minor character. Like you point at the blue guy from the very first shot of the series, the very first bounty you see. Obviously, he's now working with
the one who issued
the bounty. The first place. Obviously, that character. Obviously,
that character. Yeah,
I can't remember his fucking name. He wasn't in the last few episodes. He was only in one episode of this. I know his name's Carl Weathers in real life, but I can't remember his name in fucking this show.
Obviously, the June.
Cara Dune,
yeah. She obviously becomes the marshal of this.
Because they were setting up her own spin-off series, obviously the New Republic spin-off series, and it just never happened because of, political stuff.
Oop.
But yeah, it's it's just I said, that character comes back. The guy from the prison...
They expand more on him as well.
Yeah, they make you basically feel more from it. So the blue guy in the first episode, he was literally just a bounty.
We had no idea what it was.
You didn't know really much about him, but then this time around they actually added a bit more to him, explaining why he was a bounty. Obviously, and then showing him being redeemed and he's actually capable of defending himself and stuff like that.
Just like the bald guy.
And he knows a lot more information than he looks like he'd let on at some times. And so then they bring back the guy from the prison escape episode. Bill
redemption.
Bill Burr's character. And they say it's a proper redemption arc with him.
In that one, he was a dickhead. You hated him.
Yeah, especially how he was being a knob to obviously Mando, Grogu. And so in this one, it's the redemption arc of him helping Mando get what he wants so he can get his child back. And it is a really nice moment. And obviously, it's quite funny the fact that the only reason he's in this show is literally just for the fact that Jon Favreau thought it'd be funny to cast someone that hates Star Wars. And now he's a big part of this show for the fact that obviously he's the reason that...
He's now basically one of the allies.
Yeah, that, and he's the reason obviously they knew where Moff Gideon is. Yes. Because they have to use his Stormtrooper alliance to basically get where they need to go. And they became the king of stormtroopers at that point. After that one scene, all stormtroopers whoa, this guy's the king because he can actually shoot fucking straight and not miss every single shot. Surely at that point they should have realised. Wait a minute, we can't aim.
I think he's never took that fucking helmet off until now. He does.
But also, there's a lot of new characters as well. They're introducing a lot of new worlds as well. That you've never really seen before.
It's more world building.
That episode with Ahsoka, which is very like an Asian type town. A lot of the sort of buildings are very Asian like. Obviously, the people there are clearly Asian, but I mean, the buildings are very
inspired. It's not directly.
Yeah,
like, this is China.
It's very like inspired. Like say like I'd say it's inspired like but kind of like feudal Japan.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Avatar kind of anime. It's like where it takes all different parts of different like Asian cultures
and puts it into one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was definitely very heavy on the like ancient China as well, though. But there was bits of Japan into it, and there was a good mix, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the leader of that place has the Beskar spear, which obviously helps
to deal with the dark saber.
Because obviously Beskar can counteract.
And it's the one weapon
Kyber crystal
that obviously fucking Mando can actually wield properly, because you don't really see it in this, but obviously when the next series comes out, you see that he's actually struggling to use that saber. It's a real struggle. It's heavy for him. Like you have to be. There's a certain way you have to wield it, if I remember correctly, and you have to. It's confusing, but obviously that's why some people are able to wield it better. I.e., Moff Gideon can wield it really good. Bo-Katan can wield it really good. Whereas it's showing that he's still learning in the Boba Fett series. He's still learning to use it, and even into the current series, he's still struggling to wield that blade. But obviously, that's something that probably over this course he'd actually learn to use properly. But it is quite cool, the fact that you have to win that in combat. You can't just like give it to someone. Obviously, yeah, they can just pick it up and use it, but in the eyes of everyone, means nothing. Because obviously, Darksaber means you're King of Mandalore or Queen.
Like, because they could always say, "Oh, I'll beat it in combat," give it to them instead. But the other two, they will know, and they will affect them because they respect the tradition. So they like, well, we have to follow him, not you.
Yeah.
And even she knows that, and that's why she like
refuses.
Follow you.
Refusing. That's why she's very pissed off of him. Going into obviously Mandalorian Series 3.
I think that she should have told him
beforehand, because she never explained it to him.
If you win this saber in combat, it will be yours. Try not to fight him.
I feel like that's why Moff Gideon.
He knew.
He can't. Yeah. Obviously, I think he knew deep down that he would lose in combat against Mandalorian. And that's why he initiated the combat.
Prepared for it.
He knew the fallout. He might be able to get out of this by them bickering and fighting with each other. And obviously then the Dark Troopers get involved, and he's like, okay, I'm going to win this easily now. Yeah,
because the idea is obviously, if she fights him and kills him, get the saber back, he can then defeat her, get the saber.
Exactly, he's already beat her once. He's already
clearly
got the saber.
He can do it. And if he actually kills her, like Mando kills her instead, the other two will probably turn on him in combat. Obviously,
the other one. The one. Just one. The guy wasn't there, was he? He was just a woman.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
The guy just wasn't there for no reason. Just disappeared.
Yeah, it's just those girls. Pedro Pascal.
It's the Pedro Force.
Yeah.
It's just that scene from Avengers Endgame. Just
like, I can't
female
get
Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah, well, he was doing the distraction, wasn't he? Flying around, blasting, dropping the classic fucking explosive. That BWAM! That's just like, when you drop that, it's like, he did it again in his own series.
I was wondering why he had a massive reaction. Yoda.
Big bone I had. Don't know what I was.
Not just because Pedro Pascal was there.
Yes.
You saw his face.
Oh, so you get to see a bit more in this one.
Yes.
You get to see it in 2 episodes, whereas last time it was just the finale to save it for. This one, it's the last but one and the finale to save it for. But there's obviously the last one, when it happened, the first series, more of the case of it kind of had to happen.
Yes. No, it's like no one saw it, so he wasn't like an outcast anymore. Only mentally.
Yeah, obviously, this one, when it comes to him having to take it off, like the first one, he kind of had to. But again, the same as the last series, he kind of had to take it off because he needs to scan his face, and it was very much alerting everyone. Yeah, I think someone's trying to hack this terminal. I think someone should come check this guy out. And obviously, then the second time it is more of like he wanted to. It wasn't. He was forced to. He wanted to show Grogu the true face before Grogu went off with a very dodgily CGI'd Luke. Because that's probably the weakest CGI in the series is Luke. Because obviously they use Mark Hamill's body and then just de-aged him CGI and everything.
It's fine when he doesn't talk. It's when he talks that's what ruins it, because you can tell it's not him talking.
That's the thing. Obviously, I know de-aging is like a big thing in Hollywood at the moment in terms of like CGI.
But you've seen it really good, especially with Disney. You've seen Disney do it really well.
I think the difference is though when it comes to that, they're not de-aging them heavily far back. Like you're kind of thinking it is, but it's not really. Like they're just making them look a bit younger. Whereas this, I mean,
Mark Hamill looks completely different.
It's a massive change from now to then in terms of Mark Hamill, and like they're literally going back to how he looked in the fucking like 70s and 80s. Whereas like if you look at when they did with Sam Jackson and Michael Douglas, it's more the case of they're going back to how they looked like the 90s. Like this is like a step further back than those ones. So I feel like that kind of is why a bit it looks that, and maybe it was obviously they didn't put all the budget into it.
Because a lot more of the budget went into the other stuff.
Maybe they didn't put as much budget into this. I know they fix it ever so slightly in Boba Fett. Yeah, well, so Mandalorian 2.5 part of the series. They fix it a bit in that, but it's still the case of there's so many better ways to approach this. Obviously, I mean, Mark Hamill pointed it himself. He was like, I want my surrogate son, Sebastian Stan, to do it. Like, that would have made sense because there's no CGI involved. Sebastian Stan kind of looks very similar to Mark Hamill. Bit of makeup here and there. And there you go. You got fucking Luke Skywalker.
You could probably make him like. He'd probably be easier to alter his face to look like Mark Hamill than to de-age Mark Hamill from so many years. Like, obviously, not only is he age-wise, but like size-wise, his face definitely has changed. Like size and.
I think the shots of him fighting, that's a stunt double. But then I think the shot of him standing still, if I'm credit, that's Mark Hamill.
Yes.
And obviously that's when they just put the age on, if I remember correctly. Was it? But some of the shots are more like the upper body. But the full body shots, I think, is the stunt double. But when it's more just like the upper body, like and the face, that's when they use obviously Mark Hamill. Because obviously it's a bit different in terms of using Mark Hamill for most shots because he's not as slim as Luke was back in the day. So it'd be very blatantly obvious that it's the CGI Mark Hamill.
Hang on, that's old Mark Hamill from the new Star Wars films.
Basically. But I mean, the sequence itself is really fucking well done. The music, the atmosphere, like everything about it is so good until you see the CGI'd face, and that's when it just goes, ooh.
But that entire scene, though, is very reminiscent of Anakin.
From the hood. Yes. From destroying everything.
And the way he enters the door with the lightsaber glow and stuff, a lot like Darth Vader in obviously Rebels. Rogue One. That's the one.
I was gonna say.
Not Rebels.
I mean, he's in Rebels, but
because they are confusing me.
But yeah, obviously, and you obviously have R2 making his little cameo. Who recognises the Yoda species and gets really excited he sees Grogu.
I'm surprised he didn't like fucking shit himself. Obviously, I remember like
the first time
Yoda kept beating him with the stick.
Yeah, and he shit himself, didn't he? He was like, wow! And if you watch the Family Guy version, fucking it's Cleveland, isn't it? It's like, what the hell is that thing? So in the first line on the fucking swamp.
It's Bob from Bob's Burger.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And the guy who voices Bob in Archer and that. We'll have to do them at some point, the fucking Family Guy ones, because the Family Guy Star Wars ones are just like fucking. They're peak Family Guy, the Star Wars ones are.
Like, you are basically watching Star Wars, but you're watching.
A slimmed down, more comedic take.
Yeah, more of a parody.
Yeah. Much shorter parody on the source material, but it still gets the main story across.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It still feels like Star Wars. Yeah. It's just they're taking the piss.
Exactly. So we'll have to do that at some point. I kind of want to watch them again, that's kind of why. But But yeah, it's like up to that whole sequence, apart from the CGI, is like a really standout sequence. I mean, there's a few really good sequences in this series. I mean, the crate dragon fight is really good. That spider fight and the ice place is really good.
The fight we see after Boba as doing
the Boba fight when he's using the Sand People technique, that's really well done. So obviously that's him coming back and being Boba. Obviously when you're seeing the other Mandalorians for the first time is really good sequence. The battle obviously when they're trying to get into the Imperial base on that fucking that ship, and obviously Mando's fighting those fucking pirates that they keep jumping on. That's pretty decent, like high stake thing. Especially when that one shot of like all the pirates like putting out grenades, clicking their grenades, which you've already seen. When you click it, they go off eventually. But it's just like, why are you clicking it that far back? Are you gonna throw it at him? I mean, he could probably like just like catch him and throw him back at you. It's just like, why are you clicking on there? But pirates, they're a bit dumb.
That's nice. What's the Ahsoka fights?
Oh, the Ahsoka fights are really decent. Obviously, you got the small standoff between obviously the Mandalorian and the guy from Aliens, the one who's basically the bodyguard of the one that Ahsoka wants to fight. There's that little standoff where obviously you get to the classic Western, obviously the hand. Because
obviously Star Wars is a Western.
Yeah. Because there's a few references to that in this series. I mean, the first episode alone.
Yeah, he's literally just
there's literally that one shot of him like,
sheriff.
I'm gonna obviously take back what is basically this armor because the armor doesn't belong to you, and obviously they have that little standoff before the crate dragon arrives.
I mean, it's very classic Western. The idea of here's like these cowboys, and then here's got the Native Americans, but it's like space.
It's like you got the whole cowboy gun sort of standoff.
Yes.
And on top of that, you also have like sort of like the samurai style fighting with the lightsabers and obviously the dark saber and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always been a Western / samurai kind of film, but sci-fi.
Yeah. It's got it's the Western in terms of the gunslingers, but in terms of like the Jedi's now, it's more samurai based.
That's why the Jedi's are very like Asian,
and they wear robes
inspired,
and stuff, like, robes and stuff.
They use swords. After the whole like using the mind, like sort of as their strongest weapon. That's why the fight styles are very like obviously samurai styled, whereas like the gunslingers are always very, very Wild West inspired.
Like, they're always having like standoffs, and, like turning around and like one shot in each other.
That's why there's always like that's why it's mostly always set in Tatooine. It has that sort of desert
Western style.
There's always a bar to have the whole saloon kind of vibe. And there's always going to be some outlaws. There's always going to be like someone, the sharpshooter kind of person. Like,
like the one that comes into Boba Fett, the blue guy, Copper Vein or something like that. Copper Vein or something like that.
The one that's got like a very cowboy inspired.
He's the one who's got the hat, and obviously the one who's got the fucking
very, very.
He's got the tubes on his neck, which is basically there to stop him from basically being force choked by Jedi's. Yes,
he's from Clone Wars Rebels. I can't remember. It's from one of the animated
Clone Wars, I think it was. Yeah, Clone Wars. He's the one that's trained by Django. Django trained him up, which is why obviously he comes into Boba Fett series because.
Wait, I know you.
Yeah, even if they do underutilize him heavily in that series. But then again, that just shows you how much stronger Boba is now compared to how he was.
Oh, definitely.
But we're not talking about that because that's another series. That's Mandalorian 2.5. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, it's definitely. See, I think I prefer this series because it adds more lore to it.
Yes, there's more lore. We get to see more of like Grogu, like learning more about the Force and stuff, and we see actual Jedi's, and the fact that as well we do see live action like Ahsoka. We've got live action of all the other like people from the animated stuff, and you're like. Oh my god! I remember watching all these, and it's cool. Like I never watched the Rebels, but I watched the Clone Wars, and obviously Ahsoka was like.
I watched more Rebels. I watched more Rebels than Clone Wars. Rebels was good.
Like Ahsoka was like the best part of it. Like Obi-Wan was the best of them all, but it's everyone.
Fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But yeah, it definitely feels like a step up. With the fact that it's just him going quest after quest after quest.
Yes.
But as you say, the first series more the fact that he was just on the quest to basically just protect Grogu more than anything.
Yes.
Whereas this time it's the quest of I need to learn more about Grogu. I need to help him become
It's
who
like
he's meant to be.
it's like the first 2 series of The Witcher. First one is the more each episode is fairly unconnected, but it leads to the like connected finale. And then you've got the second series where it's a full
Him training serial.
Yes. It's basically the same kind of concept.
Yeah. But
oh God, we should
personally done better.
Screw of the new guy they've put onto it. Get Pedro Pascal to be Witcher.
We've already established this when we had Alex on. Pedro Pascal is a delivery man. He needs to be Death Stranding.
He needs to be Death Stranding. He needs to be
Witcher.
He needs to be the new Logan. We have to have X-23 in it as well, though, to make it work. Because he has to be.
And then we need to have
the lone dad with.
Then we need to have a new movie entirely that's just called The Delivery Man.
Definitely, and it's just about him working with Amazon. But he also has.
But then there's a child in the back of the van that he finds, and he's like, "I must protect you and deliver you to your intended destination."
But at first, like, I don't want you. But then eventually, it goes on him, and it's like, "This is my child now."
Yep.
Yes, that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely feels the step up. As I say, I liked pretty much how this show is going. Obviously, yes, it does feel, again, it is like side quest after side quest, but they're worth it. Like, for the visuals, for the action, for obviously the scene Grogu doing stupid ass shit. I mean, when he's eating the frog lady eggs, when he keeps stealing their babies and just eating them, it's like, whoa, that's dark. I mean, I think I brought my mum the Funko Pop of that. It's like the little egg fucking dome, and it's him stood next to it, obviously with a little egg in his hand. I think I brought that the one fucking Christmas or Mother's Day. I brought it that because that seems just hilarious. Obviously him keep trying to steal that fucking little fucking ball again.
Yes,
that's like
a good way of training him as well.
A continuation from last series of obviously him just keep trying to steal it from him and getting pissed off every time he gets it taken off him.
And for the macaroon, when
he steals the macaroons off that fucking that kid. It's that one scene when he's like he puts his hand out and the kid's just like
go
no,
away.
And then next minute the kid looks back and he's like got the whole packet going nom 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 nom. It's such a little shit. I mean, the fact that the whole spider sequence is his fault because he eats the baby spider and then tells his dad like, "Dad, there's some monsters there."
Because he's a very hungry child. And because he wants to eat those eggs but couldn't have them, he's like, well, I'm going to try to eat these then.
Because these also look like eggs. And obviously then there's the monster. I mean, that whole bit with the fucking octopus and that little octopus that gets him on the face. And he's like, stop playing with your food. And then later on, there's a weird, like, massive, like, alien-looking octopus. And next minute, fucking he's just eating it. He's just like, fucking perfect. He's just the best thing with this show. He's just so fucking hilarious. Oh, I'm so happy that they carry on with him in the next series because
of course they're gonna carry on with him.
He's
their biggest selling point.
He gets so much better at each series. That's what I love about him. Like in Boba Fett, he doesn't do too much really. It's more Mandalorian than him. Obviously, there is the episodes focused on him being trained, but it's more Mandalorian than him. Obviously, his big point is in the finale, which is quite cute and humorous. But obviously, in the next series, there's a few really funny moments with him that I really love. There definitely are. Just going, you know what? Let's just go even more funny with this character. Let's just add like some very humorous moments just to get it going. I mean, the fact that fucking Carl Weathers' character when they first go back to the planet in this series, he's like instantly in his arms. He's like, this is the guy that wanted him dead at one point. Like he wanted to basically trade him for basically his people, and now he's like his granddad or his uncle. Like, oh, you alright, mate? Has he been treating you well? Like, let's put you in school, shall we? Like, it's just fucking great. Everyone loves him. Like obviously, even the fucking the prisoner guy from the first series, who they say was being arsehole to him. Even here, at one point, it's like, I hope you get your kid back. Like that shows that obviously his arc.
Because like doing the first series, everyone just thought, it's a pet. Now people starting to realize it's not a pet; it's a child. It's his child.
Like even Ahsoka, that one bit when obviously she's fighting obviously Mando, and then he's like Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan sent me, and he's like. Oh, she's like, well, he's like, I just want to talk, and she goes, well, I hope it's about him, and just behind is him standing there, And that bit when he's on the
Yeah.
rock as well, he's going hum. He's like got the fucking huge fucking
pillar,
the
and he's like,
light down.
obviously, Mando keeps trying to break into it, and he's like, okay, stay here.
I'm gonna
I'll
protect
protect
you.
you.
And as soon as he
As soon as
falls
it
off, yeah, like it's just. And obviously the thing where obviously he's force throwing all the fucking stormtroopers.
Mhm.
He's got the little handcuffs on. It's just, he's just so fucking perfect. It sums up this series. It's definitely Star Wars' biggest thing. Just obviously, I'd say like the old movies are great. Obviously, Rogue One's great. The prequels are a mixed bag, and then the sequels are a mixed bag. Like the prequels and sequels are both mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's only the original trilogy that was really a kind of like a decent like height. And I say Rogue One was obviously the big difference in terms of that, bringing it back to that sort of quality. Solo was kind of more in the line of the prequels.
It was trying to do what Rogue One did, but completely changing characters.
But I definitely think this is their biggest thing. Like this is their magnum opus.
Definitely.
I mean, in terms of the show, because obviously I forgot last time we spoke about this, because I referenced obviously the fact Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, and I mentioned the fact that they were let down. They were
like Obi-Wan. The concept would have been great.
They just didn't.
The fact that we brought like obviously the best like incarnation of fucking Obi-Wan we've ever seen. Really, like, he's the best.
And they even brought characters from the animated shows again in terms of Rebels,
and
they
main villain and stuff.
And they just didn't execute it right. And same with Boba Fett. Boba Fett just didn't know if it wanted to be Mandalorian or Boba Fett. But obviously I didn't mention Andor, which obviously was the prequel to Rogue One, which is definitely up there as probably the second best live action Star Wars series out of these four. Easily it's up there for me. It's like one of the best ones. It was so fucking good. And I can't wait for series 2, because I know series 2 is the last series. They're only doing 2 series because they can't really do too much, because they've got to
eventually it goes into Rogue
One,
which
whereas
is the films.
Mandalorian they can do kind of a fair bit, because
it's set after the films, but before the sequels. But the sequels are a long time afterwards.
I'm saying with Andor, it's like it's the one show that's not Tatooine, like it's other places, which is
eventually I'll go to Tatooine, but yeah.
Eventually.
It's Star Wars. It always goes back to Tatooine, no matter what you do.
But yeah, I definitely want to talk about it at some point, Andor, because it's one that I think you'd like. It's very much a spy type series, like espionage, and as I say, it sets up Rogue One. Heck, Andy Serkis is in it. He's in it as like a new character. So obviously he's already in the Star Wars universe as Snoke. But now he's got like a humanoid character, who's pretty cool. But yeah, but for me, obviously, Mandalorian does still beat Andor, but Andor is still better than the other 2 shows that we've got. But still, this show just love it. I can even be blind and ignore the dodgy CGI Luke. What CGI Luke? I can just hear Mark Hamill talking.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. This show is a 10 out of 10. That's what I'm giving it. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Perfection. Apart from, that CGI. But again, what's CGI? I can't see CGI.
See, I'll give it the new rating of 10 Pedro Pascals.
What, you just said Grogu's?
No, it's 10 Pedro Pascals out of 10 Pedro Pascals.
Are you telling me I gotta fucking do what I did with the Jeff Goldblum and just like fucking make
definitely.
a golden fucking Pedro?
Yes, I want to do a golden Pedro. Okay.
So you're giving it 10 out of 10?
Yeah, I think it would 10 out of 10.
So you like this more than the first series?
Definitely. Because you get more with it. Also, mostly Ahsoka. As it gets straight into it. The first series, the problem was it took a while to get fully into it.
But this is pretty much from the get-go.
Yes, straight into it. You see more from other expanded media, so there's more connected, more in depth, and blue sick Grogu. So yeah, totally.
Okay.
I mean, there was another film before as well. Another film that Pedro's gonna do. Three Pedros and a baby.
3 Pedros and a baby.
It's just all 3 different Pedro Pascals
from different movies. Yeah. You got Mandalorian Pedro Pascal, you got Joel Pedro Pascal, and you got Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal.
The one from fucking
Oh, he did that film. He did that film with fucking when he's a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
The one with the guy who made Spy Kids. We Can Be Heroes.
But instead,
And he's got a daughter in there.
We missed the best one.
Right.
So each one gonna have their own little child.
Yeah, the
So
child in
obviously
there.
Joel's gonna have Ellie. Obviously, fucking Man's gonna have Grogu. And this one Pedro Pascal. Have Nicolas Cage. That's his child.
But no, he has a kid in that We Can Be Heroes. Because she's got superpowers. She's got superpowers as well. Because then they've all got powers. Because Ellie's immune to it.
Nicolas Cage has got powers too.
Ellie's immune to a virus. Grogu's got the Force, and this other one's got. I can't remember what superpower she's got some sort of superpower.
Ellie's got a tumour. Grogu is just a Yoda, so he's got the Force anyways. And then you got Nicolas Cage, whose power is he's Nicolas Cage.
He can turn into
He can
turn into any Nicolas Cage he wants.
It includes the Superman that never came out.
He can become any Nick Cage. That's his power. Fair enough. Okay, so obviously 2 10s gives Mandalorian Series 2 the Shattercave overall rating of
10 Pedros out of 10 Pedros.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. It's very blatant. I said 10 and 10. Okay, MVP.
Still Pedro.
You didn't give it to Pedro last time.
Okay.
You got Grogu last time.
Well, I'm going to give it to Pedro this one.
Pedro this
you
time.
see more
because there's a bit more emotion with him and Grogu compared to last series.
He becomes more of an actual father to him.
Yeah,
and also you see his face more, and there's consequences to
his actions,
what he's done. So
yeah. Okay, Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. So
yeah. Okay. He joins the elite club of from going from runner up to MVP.
Yes.
That includes Gal Gadot for Batman vs Superman, where she was runner up, and then she was MVP for Wonder Woman. And I think there's another one we did.
We don't talk about the second one.
No, we don't. I think there's another one we did where like someone went from runner up to MVP in like the space of like 2 films. Okay, runner up.
I mean, either Grogu or Boba.
I'll let you decide. Which one do you think?
Grogu was funny in it. I think it was a good setup for Boba. I think we didn't see more of it. You had the first episode. It's like the teaser, like it's Boba's armor. Is that Boba Fett? No, it's a random fucking guy. And then you actually get to Boba, and he finally gets the armor. You get the ship, the classic ship. I think I'd say him because obviously he does a lot more in this series, and I think it helps. Grogu still would be close, definitely, especially for the Stormtrooper scene. But I think
it's a good return for a character that hasn't been seen since Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Favorite moment for me, it's literally the scene when Boba finally gets his armor because he's been fighting this entire episode without armor, using his stand trooper technique with his fucking staff, and then you think it's all over, and he just comes down. He's stood there with a fucking fully armored up. Obviously, a mixture of his armor and his new sort of outfit he's got on. That obviously the blackness on him, and obviously then he's using the fucking his rocket missiles in his leg. He's using his fucking blasters on his arms. He's using his weapon, obviously his staff, and obviously his big missile. And because I mean the thing when obviously he pops down in his fucking eye, the tracking, and he fucking
just like the old
missile
classics.
fire is just like that sequence is so good. I say if it wasn't for the dodgy CGI in the finale, that would definitely have been up there. And I think the crate dragon scene's definitely up there for me as well. But I definitely think it's the Boba Fett big reveal of him back in the armor is what gets it for me.
I think for me, I'd say the scene where Grogu is literally beating the shit out of the Stormtroopers because it's a good show of what his potential is. This is his potential. Yeah. Closer up there would have been Luke's scene. Before the CGI. The actual, like, very similar to Anakin and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's the CGI that drags it back a bit.
For the CGI. Yeah, but I think for that one, because you get to see the potential of Grogu, but you also see, like, not ready yet for that level of what Yoda was like. Because obviously Yoda was, like, one of the most strongest, like, Force users. You get to see, like, Grogu can become just like that.
Okay. Okay, that pretty much covers it. Put your thoughts on Mandalorian Series 2 in the comments below, and what are you thinking so far of Series 3?
Mhm.
And if you think they should have done it... It is a good question. Do you think they should have not... they should have done Mandalorian Series 3 as what it is, and then Series 4 be the current series, and not just jump into Boba Fett series and hijack his entire show?
Yeah.
There's your question. Did they butcher Boba in terms of his own show?
I gotta admit, I'd think it would have been better to keep Boba as part of Mandalorian and not his own show.
Like that is that
have
plot,
like episodes where it's like flashbacks.
like that plot line is within Mandalorian anyway. Like, that's not the Book of Boba Fett. That's like the Mandalorian series 3.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's explained to Mando, or even obviously his new assassin, how he got to what he was.
Yeah,
because that's what they do really with that one. Like he sees stuff. Like it's usually when he's in his like chamber regenerating. That's when he has visions of the past when he was fighting and whatnot.
Yes,
that's how they pretty much did it with that. But you know, they just kind of backtracked him in the end for Mando. But yeah, okay, yeah. So that is that. Obviously, do check out the first series review we did. We did that a few weeks ago, which was an interesting conversation. And, you know, we've spoken many times about Pedro Pascal's The Delivery Man.
Yes.
And we did that one video of Alex.
Basically,
talking about gaming.
He's quite big right now, Pedro Pascal is.
You can go check that out. Obviously, we spoke about The Last of Us in that.
Yes, which is basically the same.
Yes, very much. And so you can check out any of our podcasts we've done up to this point. Even the really old ones, which aren't the exact same format as this. But, you know, it's still an interesting listen. Because they're, you know, us getting used to...
I mean, we talked about other Star Wars stuff like Obi-Wan.
Yes, we did. We actually did the Obi-Wan trailer talk, which is pretty good. So yeah, you can check out all this other stuff on the channel. Do like and subscribe. Obviously, you can check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, etc., etc. And the videos on YouTube where you actually just dick around a bit more. You with a Yoda hat and me with the fucking... I'm blind. I can't see Luke Skywalker's dodgy ass CGI. Like, you can see more stuff like that on the YouTube version, but obviously, if you don't want to see it visually, you can just listen to it. On Spotify and that, which is, you know, pretty much supporting us carrying on doing this. But yeah, obviously, we hope you enjoyed, and this has been the Chat Okay podcast. And you know, we'll see you next time.
Bye.